Hey there, happy Tuesday. Welcome to 2 for Tuesday with Mo McClanahan. I'm here with the Safe Surfing Foundation. I am the Director of Training and Education, and our mission at Safe Surfing is actually to educate, equip, and empower both children and adults to be safe online. We started this live episodes of 2 for Tuesday in order to better reach more parents and really just help with educating when it came to internet safety, especially as our children were all coming home, becoming virtual learners, having access to Chromebooks and the internet at such a young age. We could feel the anxiety and the overwhelm of you as the parents, and so we wanted to make sure that we were trying to utilize whatever source that we had available to better educate and continue to help you if you were in need. And so we came up with the 2 for Tuesday to talk about a hot topic in either the media or if we are contacted by a parent and maybe it was a question that they had. And so we come with 2 tips to go along with that topic. Along with being the Director of Training and Education with Safe Surfing, I am also a high-tech crime specialist with the National White Collar Crime Center. And prior to that, I recently retired with 20 years in law enforcement and 8.5 years of the last years that I worked, I was an investigator working internet crimes against children. Tonight, I chose the topic of end-to-end encryption regarding to Facebook moving forward, making this become a reality to all users of Facebook. And I can only imagine once this starts being more broadcasted throughout the news, how parents are going to be really confused. And so I thought I could hit on that topic tonight and try to bring some clarity on what it really means and how it can affect your children being online through Facebook and even you as a user as well. So what end-to-end encryption basically means is that when a sender sends a message, that message can only be seen by the sender and the intended recipient. So meaning nobody in between can see that message. Not any of the service providers, not Facebook, not law enforcement. Nothing will be seen in between there. And Facebook has actually had these messages. They're considered secret messages. That is an option when sending direct messages through Instant Messenger. And so making sure that you're aware that there's a difference now, that is an option that can be utilized. And what they're looking to do is create all messages that way. And their stand is that it will really protect all users' privacy, that other people are either hacking into their messages or law enforcement is secretly spying on the content. And really, even Facebook, they have a security team and they are monitoring the content. They're not sitting there reading all the messages. So privacy is not really being invaded anyways. They monitor hot spots, like they monitor any kind of criminal activity or any kind of victimization of children, which is really the main point of it, was to better protect children so they can still utilize the app, but they would have a plan in place so that if something were to happen, they're able to intercept it and report it to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which goes into their cyber tip hotline. And then it gets divvied out to the law enforcement agency in the area of where the suspected criminal activity is taking place, wherever that predator or that suspect, or even where the victim lives. And with them going to this end-to-end encryption, that means there's no more monitoring because they won't even be able to see the content. And so as a parent, this is really important to understand, because once that is no longer being monitored by Facebook, if you have a parental monitoring app, they're not going to be able to monitor the conversations. They're not going to be able to see if your child's being groomed or if they're being sent any type of inappropriate material or being asked to do inappropriate things. There's no intercepting that. And then that becomes a victimization of the child, and they're not able to get help, and nobody's able to even know it's going on. And so they may live with that behind the scenes and not really know to report it. So, when I was an investigator and we would work some undercover cases, a lot of times I actually had a persona on Facebook in order to intercept these predators to getting to our children. And so my position was to, just kind of hang out and see if people will approach me. And a lot of it was more behind the scenes of trying to identify people and having that persona there. So I wasn't using my personal information or my personal profile. But there was a time when I was invited into a Facebook group called Older for Younger, and it was specifically designed for adults who had sexual interest with children. And inside that group, there were several other ICAC investigators with underage personas as well inside the group. And we were being bombarded with messages from people all over the world. And these messages were, one, they wanted to determine that I was a child. They wanted to know how old I was, where I was located. And then eventually it would turn on to talking sexual. There were times that over the night I would come into work, log in, and have messages with them being, sending naked images of themselves. Or they would send screenshots of pornographic material and even send links to a pornographic video that was very violent in nature. And so that's really some of their techniques to kind of break down that stigma of sexual activity being wrong for a child. And so that would be part of their grooming, to really see what kind of reaction that they would get from the child and know whether or not they could move forward. And eventually we created many cases, and there were times that the predators were using the secret messages, and it wasn't until I had one sent to me and all of a sudden it disappeared. And it was a new feature through the Facebook Messenger. And so I read a little bit about it, learned that that was a new thing and that it disappears. Nothing different than like Snapchat, right? So I had to learn, one, how to capture that type of evidence. And at the same time, I contacted somebody in Facebook and I asked them about the messages. So if they were secret on my device, what did that mean in Facebook world? And they explained that it was totally encrypted. So if a predator were to victimize a child and the parents suspected that based on the child telling them, we would start an investigation. But once end-to-end encryption is put in place completely, there will be no sending search warrants to Facebook asking for the details of this message. And there will be lack of evidence to convict these predators that are victimizing children. And so the child's not going to know to screenshot the message or make sure that they are capturing the information that's coming to them, or the the engagement from these predators, they're not going to know any better, and they shouldn't. But it's our job to make sure that we are keeping them safe. And so keeping up to date with the news and watching really what's going to happen with this end-to-end encryption is really important as a parent who's allowing their children to use social media. Facebook is not going to be the only platform that's moving this way. There are some apps that are already set up that way, but they were set up that way to begin with, and they're not designed for predatory behavior for the most part. But making sure that you are reading the terms, you're reading some of these agreements of anytime you're uploading or download or installing a new app, make sure you know exactly how it works. Read the reviews if it's something new, and making sure that there's a way for you to monitor what your child's doing inside of those apps. So I want you to walk away with two things. One, the knowledge of what end-to-end encryption means and what that looks like. Because I can tell you that even the UK government is already, they're in an uproar about it. They know that the possibilities of child abuse occurring increasing with this being put in place. And so it's our turn to make sure that we're informed and that we are staying up to date with that. And two, the second tip is if your child wants to utilize a new app, or if you're allowing them to be on some of these apps that are already out there, make sure you're staying up to date with the security settings and that you know who can really contact your child and how to better keep them safe and keep them private from those that they don't know. And, tonight, it's a really tough topic to think about. It's almost something that seems unreal, and coming from the investigation and law enforcement world, this doesn't look good for helping more children. And so, just stay up to date, figure out a way to be involved, and we will also make sure that you're informed and keeping you up to date when new things arise, especially in this field, and making sure that we're announcing anything that could really potentially put your children at danger. And again, we always ask for that you share these episodes with friends and family. We're really trying to get back to it takes a village to raise our children. And in a techie world like it is now, it's a scary place, and we're all living busy lives. So if we can just take a minute, share some of these tips with other parents and making sure that we're informing those around us, then that'll make a huge impact to protecting more kids and minimizing the victimization online. So again, appreciate you guys joining me tonight. And if you have any questions, make sure you send us a message. And if you have anything that you would like for us to discuss in more detail for the next time, also drop that into the messages. And also just a reminder, again, we are now coming at you every first and third Tuesday of each month. So we'll catch you on the next one at 8 p.m. EST here at Safe Surfing. Thanks so much. Take care.